The deception of sweet taste. Do sweeteners ruin metabolism? Hello, my dear listeners, and perhaps even those who simply stumbled upon this curious spark of random curiosity in this hectic, ever-rushing world, where even sweetness tries to pretend to be something other than what it really is. Sometimes you sit there, brewing your morning drink, or perhaps evening tea, and before you on the table, there's a small jar, or a sachet, or even some exotic little bottle with promises of unthinkable happiness, sweet taste without calories, without harm to your waistline, without treacherous blood sugar spikes, without plaque, without all those other small but annoying consequences that ordinary, such familiar and customary sugar entails. And your hand reaches out, doesn't it? It reaches out on its own to this magical dust, to these crystals, to these drops, promising an easy solution to a complex problem, such as our eternal battle with excess weight, with ailments that lie in wait for us everywhere, or simply with our weaknesses. So pleasant, so enticing. But here's the catch. Because life, as we know, rarely offers us something completely simple, something entirely without a trick, without a hidden agenda, without a small, barely noticeable, yet still a hook on which we are so skillfully caught. And in this seemingly simple story with sweeteners, this sugar alternative, I sense something more than just deliverance from a caloric burden. I sense a whole drama unfolding in the depths of our own organism, a drama with its heroes and villains, with its secrets and sudden discoveries, which keeps us on edge no worse than the most intricate detective story. And today, my dears, I invite you to immerse yourselves in this seemingly sweet, but upon closer inspection, so tart and ambiguous world, to try and understand together what exactly are these sugar substitutes. Are they our salvation? Our bright guardian angel coming from the world of science to lighten the burden of our lives? Or are they a hidden threat, slowly but surely undermining the foundations of our metabolism, this complex, this delicate mechanism that governs all processes in our body? Let's first remember how it all began. Recall how many conversations there were around us, how many articles, how many TV programs, how much whispering in gyms and doctors' offices. Sugar is evil, sugar is poison, sugar is white death. And then, on the wave of this universal anti-sugar movement, when the fear of diabetes, obesity, and cardiovascular diseases reached its peak, they appeared on the scene. The heroes of our story today, sugar substitutes. They came like knights in shining armor, ready to save us from sweet perdition. Their promises sounded like the most beautiful music to our ears. Enjoy your favorite flavors without guilt, without extra pounds, without danger to your health. And indeed, at first, everything seemed flawless. They had no calories, or so few that it was equivalent to zero. They did not raise blood glucose levels, which was manna from heaven for diabetics. And food manufacturers gladly embraced this idea, filling store shelves with an arsenal of fat-free, diet, sugar-free products. We gladly bought them. We believed in their saving power. We added them to our drinks, to our baked goods. We spread them on our bread. We saw in them the key to slimness and health. After all, the logic was ironclad, wasn't it? Fewer calories, less weight. No sugar, stable glucose levels. What could one argue against? This belief was so deep that few people thought about what subtle and invisible processes might be hidden behind this seemingly simple substitution. No one then assumed that our body, this wise and sometimes cunning alchemist, might react to such a substitution not at all as we expect from it. But time passed, and with it questions accumulated, doubts multiplied. The first alarm bells began to ring from the most unexpected places, from scientific laboratories, from clinical studies, where scientists, meticulously studying the effects of these very substitutes, suddenly began to stumble upon strange, sometimes inexplicable phenomena. it turned out that those who actively consumed diet products did not always lose weight and sometimes even gained it. Doesn't that sound paradoxical? We give up sugar to become slimmer, and instead we see the needle on the scales creep up. And this is where the most interesting, most tense part of our story begins. Because our body is not just a calorie-burning machine, it is a complex system where everything is interconnected, where each element plays its own, sometimes non-obvious role. Let's peer inside ourselves, as if into a dark room where a ray of light barely penetrates, and try to discern what is happening at the cellular level, in those microscopic spaces where a real drama unfolds. When we consume regular sugar, our tongue, or more precisely the taste receptors on it, immediately send a signal to the brain. Attention! Something sweet is coming! The brain, having received this information, immediately mobilizes the entire body. The pancreas prepares to release insulin to utilize the incoming glucose. The intestines begin to absorb nutrients more actively. The entire metabolic conveyor is launched at full capacity, anticipating the arrival of energy. It's like preparing for a feast when the hosts hastily set the table expecting guests. And what happens when we deceive this ancient mechanism by offering it sweetness without calories? The tongue, this faithful doorman, sends the same signal again. Sweet is coming! The brain, from old memory, launches all the same processes. Insulin begins to be produced, the digestive system prepares for work, but there are no calories. There is no energy. The guests don't come, but the table is already set. What does the body do in such a situation? It is bewildered, in a state of confusion. The released insulin finds no work to do, and this can lead to cells becoming less sensitive to it, developing what is called insulin resistance. And insulin resistance, my dears, is a direct path to prediabetes and type 2 diabetes, as well as to weight gain, because unused insulin promotes fat storage. Here is the first, such gentle, such delicate, but already palpable touch of metabolic threat. But that's not all, because our body is much more complex than just a set of receptors and hormones. In our intestines, in this mysterious and still not fully understood universe, live billions of microorganisms, bacteria, viruses, fungi, which together form our microbiota. This is an entire microcosm, a silent city where millions of tiny inhabitants live, each with their own role, their own habits, their own complex relationships. And this city has a colossal impact on our health, our immunity, our mood, and of course, our metabolism. And it was here that another, much more insidious side of the story with sugar substitutes was discovered. The fact is that some of these sweet deceivers, passing through our digestive tract, are not absorbed by the body, but reach the intestines directly, where they become food for our microscopic citizens. And this is where the most interesting thing begins. It turns out that these substances, instead of being neutral, begin to selectively influence the composition of our microbiota. They can promote the growth of some types of bacteria and suppress the growth of others, thereby disrupting the fragile balance, this delicate equilibrium, which is so important for our health. For example, studies have shown that some sugar substitutes can increase the number of bacteria that promote fat accumulation, or those that produce toxins that provoke inflammation. Isn't that amazing? We try to avoid sugar to be healthy, and instead, without even knowing it, we begin to feed not-so-friendly inhabitants of our inner world, who in turn can reconfigure our metabolism in an undesirable way, making us crave sweets even more, or worse, contribute to the development of obesity and diabetes. It's as if you decided to redecorate your apartment, but instead accidentally installed malicious software that gradually begins to change all the settings of your home. And here is another important aspect that often escapes our attention, but which, in my opinion, plays one of the key roles in this sweet drama. This is psychology. Imagine, you drink a glass of diet soda or eat a fat-free yogurt with a sugar substitute. And what happens in your head? In most cases, there is a feeling that you have done something good, that you have saved calories, that you have allowed yourself something sweet without harm. And this feeling, this psychological loophole, sometimes pushes us towards compensatory behavior. We think, well, since I drank diet cola, now I can eat another piece of cake. Or, since it's sugar-free, I can eat more. And so, instead of actually reducing calorie intake, we, without even realizing it, can increase the total calorie content of our diet due to other products, feeling completely justified and even proud of our healthy choice. Remember how sometimes you crave something sweet? This insatiable urge, this persistent desire that literally drives you crazy? Now imagine that you give your body a sweet taste, but you don't give it the energy it's used to getting from sweetness. The brain, receiving the signal of sweetness, expects calories, but there are none. And what does it do? It keeps demanding. It intensifies the feeling of hunger. It makes us look for this missing energy, this promised sugar that never arrived. As a result, we may experience an increased appetite, especially for carbohydrates, and consequently, overeat. Isn't that a cunning trap? We thought we were deceiving ourselves, but in reality, we are deceiving our own brain, which then retaliates with an intensified feeling of hunger and a craving for sweets. It's like giving a child an empty candy wrapper. They will demand a real candy even stronger. Furthermore, there are less obvious but no less important points. Our taste receptors, these subtle tools of perception, can become desensitized over time, meaning they become less sensitive to natural sweetness. If we constantly bombard them with artificial sweeteners, which are often many times sweeter than regular sugar, then natural tastes, the sweetness of fruits, vegetables, dairy products, begin to seem bland, unappetizing, insufficient to us. And then we find ourselves in a vicious circle. The more artificial sweeteners we eat, the more we crave something extremely sweet, and the less pleasure we get from healthy, natural food. It's like listening to music at too high a volume. Over time, normal volume starts to seem too quiet, and you lose the ability to enjoy the nuances of sound. And yet, there are also individual reactions that cannot be predicted. Some people complain of headaches, migraines, digestive disorders such as bloating or diarrhea after consuming certain types of sugar substitutes, especially those that belong to sugar alcohols. And while these reactions are not universal and depend on the individual characteristics of each person's body, they still serve as a reminder that what seems harmless to one person can be a source of discomfort for another. Our body is not a template machine, but a unique, complex, and very personal mechanism that reacts to external influences in its own way. So what should we do, you ask? Seek the truth, my dears. Seek the truth in your own body. Listen to its signals, its whispers, its screams. Learn to read its language, this ancient, this wise language that has been passed down to us from our ancestors for centuries. If you use sugar substitutes, do so consciously, with an understanding of all possible risks and benefits. Do not abuse them. Do not make them the basis of your diet. Do not substitute them for real, whole foods that nature has given us for a full life. Remember your microbiota, your taste receptors, your metabolism, that complex dance of hormones that takes place inside you. Try to gradually reduce your overall craving for sweets. It is possible. Start enjoying the natural sweetness of fruits, berries, vegetables. Learn to drink water, pure water, without any additives. Replace carbonated drinks with herbal teas, with sugar-free compotes, with water with lemon and mint. Remember that the path to health lies not through deceiving the body, but through harmony with it, through respect for its needs, through careful attention to what we put into it. May this story I've told today become for you not just a set of facts, but a small key that will open the door to a deeper understanding of yourself, your body, and the complex processes that occur within it. May it inspire you to further study this topic, to seek new knowledge, to experiment with your nutrition, but experiments that are reasonable and conscious. And remember that true freedom is not the ability to eat whatever you want without consequences, but the ability to choose what truly nourishes your body and soul, what makes you stronger, healthier, and happier. And may wisdom, intuition, and an inexhaustible thirst for truth always accompany you on this path of knowledge and self-improvement. Thank you for your attention, and see you again in this amazing world full of mysteries and discoveries.